Hello, everybody, and welcome to Secular Ultra Quran, your one-stop shop for everything Secular Ultra and Quran. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering Surah 5, verses 33 through 63.
And I have the Study Quran, the Quran Project Quran, the Penguin Classics Quran. We also have a thematic commentary on the Quran and your books.
Yes. What do we have here? We have translations from Abdullah Yusuf Ali, Maulana Muhammad Ali, and the Quran and the Bible from Gabriel Said Reynolds. And you know, it's funny. The other day, I did end up talking to a Muslim about especially that verse. Was it Surah 4, verse 34?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he was like, it means, so it's not supposed to be wife beating at all. It's supposed to be like, oh, you've gently reprimand them, and that they that it's supposed to sorry, his interpretation was that it was a metaphorical physical reprimand, where it was where you take like a handkerchief and like, you know, basically slap him around with a handkerchief a little bit. And it's metaphorical. And to me, I was like, oh, and you know what? The bed was also metaphorical, and like all this other. So it's the thing is, those problematic verses always get super. The same thing happens with biblical studies, where the super problematic ones are like all the apologists concentrate on it. Like there's a reason for it. It's because sometimes people in the ancient world were just shitty. That's just how it is.
Yeah. We're currently trying to figure out, switch it to live chat, by the way.
Oh, sure, yeah. So, yeah, we are currently trying to figure out the goal thing, because for some reason it's not working. But we have a special, if we do reach this goal of super chats, we have something very special for you. So just know that.
Yes.
Something very
special.
special.
Goal is live. We have something very special. You didn't get a notification. Did you click the bell?
Oh, right. Yeah, good point. We always forget to say that.
Bell?
Click the bell.
Did the internet unclick the bell for you without your consent?
Well, maybe it was.
It might have unclicked the bell for you without your consent. You know, sometimes YouTube really screws over YouTubers.
It really does. And I have also heard a lot of recent. I don't know how accurate this is, because it did happen to me. At least I didn't notice. But like, you know, some YouTubers, Facebook pages, Twitter pages, like they've had to people have had to refollow certain people because they just, you know, are unfollowed or unsubscribed or something.
Yeah, I
know that used to happen a lot with YouTube. Maybe not so much anymore, but it definitely used to happen.
It definitely did used to happen. Did you see that the Amazing Atheist changed his
into
name?
The Fray? Yeah.
Yeah, he's
What?
not the Amazing Atheist anymore. He's Into the Fray.
What
Yeah.
happened to...
The thing is, his content is getting better.
But it has nothing to do with atheism anymore.
I mean, it does, yeah.
Well, he's separating himself from the atheist title, and perhaps that is going to help him in the algorithm.
Maybe. We'll see where it goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or we'll get all the atheists.
We're gonna
We'll
watch.
get all of
We're
them.
gonna watch what happens.
Yeah. Either way, you know, aside from the apologetics that I just mentioned, we do have some interesting laws coming up in this reading as well.
Yeah, we have all sorts of interesting things coming up, don't we?
Yeah, we do. That's just kind of how it is here on this channel. And I think a lot of the time today will mostly be. So a lot of this stuff has already been covered, right? Where they talk about like, oh, like the word has been corrupted, and make sure not to distort that. And a lot of people are hypocrites and don't listen to the unbelievers. Shit like that, right? That's everywhere. So we're gonna get more of that today too.
Okay, well, we're
When
starting.
will we learn? I mean, us, the unbelievers. When will we learn?
Right? When will we learn?
We're starting.
Never.
Oh,
with
whoop.
a very intense verse, and I have thorough commentary on it.
But is it
a
good?
Commentary that goes on for multiple pages, even.
You said this is verse 33.
Verse 33.
Yeah.
And so perhaps you should get started on that commentary.
Yeah, I'll just start looking at it.
Verily.
Verily. Is that what we're doing?
What is that? I didn't think
That's our word for today.
Is it? Well, it could be. It could be
We have
truly.
to pick a word every time.
Ryan with the 666.
You
that
met the goal.
meets the goal.
Okay. Pick one.
I'll pick this one because I am so overpowered that I need a disadvantage.
Okay.
Are we?
What are the rules?
There are no rules.
Okay.
Yes, one victory.
Oh wow.
I think that's a Pyrrhic victory.
Oh man.
Okay.
Now I'm dead. All right.
It's 1-1. We need to
No,
settle
do it.
the score.
We can barely hear you guys, I bet.
That's fine.
There was a sword fight. I hope you enjoyed.
Here you go.
That was worth your 666.
It was. I forget why we did that,
It's a goal.
but that was an option.
Mm-hmm.
That was something we could do.
You know, we're eventually gonna do a wrestling match.
Yeah, that is something we still should do.
You
I
gotta
agree.
get healthy.
Is
enough
it gonna
to do a
be healthy
wrestling
enough? You're
match.
right.
Hold on. Is it going to be as lackluster exactly if you're not healthy as the box and the alchemy?
No, that worked perfectly. What are you talking about?
Anything that was my idea is lackluster. Okay, let's just be clear.
That worked perfectly.
No, the wrestling match is gonna happen someday. Look, we have 6 concurrent viewers, 6 likes. Chat revenue is 666.
Oh yeah, a bunch of 6s in a row. That is
Let's
true.
keep going.
I
Verily,
5, a 2, and a 7. But
and I'm saying that verily is the word of the day.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
$2. Well, we already met the
Eucalyptus,
goal.
thank you for the $2. Very much appreciated.
Oh, but it's their first
helps,
super
though.
chat.
Yeah, the big
how do I
Your
celebrate
first super
that?
chat.
And a nice sticker too.
Yeah, well, we can do something for your first super chat. What? We'll do a Q&A. You get one question. Make it count.
And make sure it's for Chris too.
What?
Chris doesn't get a lot of questions, so
Yeah, Chris can be involved in the question.
yeah. So ask Chris a
I
question.
don't care.
Okay. Let me continue. Yep. Verily, the recompense of those who wage war against God and his messenger and endeavor to work corruption upon the earth is that they be killed or crucified, or have their hands and feet cut off from the opposite sides, or be banished from the land. That is their disgrace in this world. And in the hereafter theirs shall be a great punishment, save for those who repent before you overpower them, and know that God is forgiving, merciful.
Yeah. So I do have some commentary on this, but it's not as much as you probably have.
All right.
So
I'll let you do yours first.
yeah. So this is from Maulana Muhammad Ali on verse 33. So the note is for where it says, his messenger against Allah and his messenger, and strive to make mischief in the land. So the words used here imply originally all those opponents of Islam who waged war on the Muslims and made mischief in the land. So just any kind of physical strife that is happening against Islam.
It has to be both, right?
It does say and, but I think they usually just take them together, where you can't make war against one if you're not making war against the other.
No, I mean, like, the mischief part seems like it has to be war and mischief.
Oh no, the war causes the mischief. The war is the mischief.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
War is generally mischievous.
Sure, yeah.
What is the background, by the way?
Honestly, I don't know. It's just
Isn't that fun? You get
some
asked
sort of
this all the
afterlife
time.
art, like just some because there is a portion in here where they talk about hellfire and unbelievers. I'm just like, you know what? It is so hard finding background images, especially for things in the Quran, because like most of the stuff that we're talking about is like laws and provisions anyways. There's not going to be a picture for it. That, and then you have, Islam's whole provision against any sort of iconography. So it gets even more difficult to find images for things. So what a bummer. That's the background.
So if you have no idea what's going on in the background, blame Islam.
I mean, that's one option.
Yeah.
Their fault.
So I'm going to continue on here. The punishment described is of 4 kinds, which clearly shows that the punishment to be inflicted in any particular case would depend upon the circumstances, as well as the time and place where the crime was committed. For instance, if murder has been committed in the course of, never heard this word before. So it's spelled D-A-Coity. I have never heard that word before. And it is it I don't even want to pronounce it because I'm probably going to get it wrong. And everyone's going to be like, "You're an idiot. You never heard that word before."
You know, Lawrence, nobody's going to judge you for how dumb you are and how bad you are at saying things. Other than me.
Oh, okay.
But I don't matter.
Yeah. I don't know what the word is. It seems like
an
something
act of armed robbery committed by a gang in India or Burma.
specifically. Okay, but
From
let's just say armed
Hindi
robbery.
Dacoity.
Okay, let's just say like an armed robbery. Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha. The punishment would include the execution of the culprit, which may take the form of crucifixion if the offense is so heinous or the culprit has caused such terror in the land that the leaving of his body on the cross is necessary as a deterrent.
Good job, Ruben.
In other cases, the punishment may be imprisonment, where the severer punishment is cutting off of hands is deemed unnecessary. The judge would take all the circumstances into consideration and inflict such punishment as he thought necessary.
So let me give you some spicy deets.
Sure.
This verse contains one of the 5 Quranic had punishments, that is, divinely ordained capital or corporal punishments to be carried out by the Islamic State against those convicted of crimes considered to undermine the moral fabric of the Islamic community as a whole, including murderers, thieves, adulterers, slanderers, and here, those who wage war against God and his messenger. This phrase is understood to mean those who attack and terrorize members of the Islamic community directly, since one cannot wage war against God. The crimes covered under this had punishment are referred to collectively as hiraba or hiraha, and consist of armed robbery, assault, including rape, and murder, particularly of innocent travelers along the road, although this is widely understood to include attacks in cities and settled areas as well. The use of weapons, threats of extreme violence, or other tactics to instill fear are the hallmark of these crimes and distinguish them from other forms of robbery or assault. Although the phrase "work corruption upon the earth" may seem to be open to wide interpretation, its meaning in this verse has been limited by most major commentators to the armed crimes mentioned above and their detrimental effect on the safety and security of the community. Nonetheless, the idea of working corruption upon the earth is mentioned in several other places, where it's often connected with behaving wickedly upon the earth, and opposed to setting things aright upon it. It's sometimes used to indicate spiritual corruption and its otherworldly consequences.
Oh, sure. So like any kind of so really it's a broad brush for mischief.
Yes.
I knew it.
In what we just read the previous week, Cain and Abel have the term working corruption explicitly connected to physical violence.
Sure, yeah.
Here and elsewhere. The most widely attested occasion for the revelation of this verse is an incident in which a group of men from the Urayana and Ukal tribes came to the prophet feigning a desire to embrace Islam. The prophet accepted them into the community, but they soon complained to him that as Bedouin, they found the settled life of Medina unbearable. The prophet thus allowed them to leave the city and sent with them a camel herd and some camels to milk for sustenance. Once outside the city, however, they brutally maimed and killed the camel herd and made off with the camels the prophet had given them. The prophet had the men apprehended and reportedly ordered that their hands and feet be cut off, their eyes gouged out, and their bodies exposed until death. This verse then came down establishing the punishment for such crimes as being the 4 penalties listed here: the cutting off of a hand and foot on opposite sides, execution, crucifixion, and banishment. Given that the perpetrators were also, among other things, apostates, since they embraced Islam in the presence of the prophet, then renounced it through their actions.
These are specifically like some kind of religious war, right? Yeah. Because it's against
a minority Muhammad. Have considered this verse to apply to apostates in general.
Okay, well, there's no way to specifically make war against them. Like that's very different.
Yeah, some commentators and a minority of legal authorities argued that the Islamic authority, or imam, could use his discretion to apply one or a combination of the punishments listed here for one convicted of a hiraba or hiraba. Al-Shafi and other legal scholars, however, considered the punishment to correlate in specific ways to the severity of the crime. Those who committed murder in the course but not theft were subject to simple execution. Those who committed theft but not murder had their hand and foot amputated. Those who committed both theft and murder were killed and crucified. And those who terrorized others but did not kill or steal were banished. There's been some debate among jurists about the specific procedures for carrying out these punishments. Crucifixion, understood to mean the exposure of the criminal in public, was usually carried out historically after the execution of a criminal in Islamic society as a means of public deterrence, not as a means of execution itself. Some legal scholars recommend crucifixion prior to execution, but not as the means to it, so that the perpetrators would be exposed, but then almost immediately be killed, lest they endure suffering that would constitute torture, which is forbidden.
Huh. So that's interesting because some of these that are included that they would have done, hanging, drawing, and quartering. There's other potential options, it seems.
Yeah. And if you think of like Roman crucifixions, which were common, really commonplace. A lot of people got crucified. They were often means of execution.
Yeah.
So there is potentially some avenue for some like cross-cultural issue here between like Christians, for example.
Oh, sure, yeah. Also, a lot of these punishments were pretty ubiquitous throughout the world.
Yeah. But here they specifically don't use it as a means of execution.
Sure.
Which is strange to me, because I don't think of it that way, generally. But let's continue on. O you who believe, reverence God and seek the means to approach him, and strive in his way that haply you may prosper. Truly, those who believe, were they to possess all that is on the earth and the like of it, besides with which to ransom themselves from the punishment of the day of resurrection, it would not be accepted from them. And theirs shall be a painful punishment. They will wish to come forth from the fire, but they shall not come forth from it, and theirs shall be a lasting punishment.
Yeah, so that's classic stuff. We've heard that a million times. Listen to God or burn forever.
What?
Yeah.
News to me.
Yeah, right. Although I do want to point out here, so in verse 35 there, it does say, and seek the means of recourse to him and wage jihad in his way, so that you may be felicitous. So it does say, or like strive hard in his way, because we've talked about it before, but jihad would just mean struggle. So like my guess here is that like, you know, try really hard to maintain the faith, not because it does say like do things in his way, and it starts with "Oh, you who have faith," and then it contrasts them with the faithless. So this struggle would be like, even if it's hard to like be a believer, continue in that. Is my guess as to what this means.
Yeah. I don't have any commentary on this, but I don't think the lasting punishment is a permanent punishment necessarily.
Wow,
April. Member for 25 months. Nothing says God of peace like torture and murder. You know, that's very, very Abrahamic.
Yeah, he doesn't like pina coladas.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He does not like pina coladas.
Well, they're explicitly outlawed in Islam, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, all alcohol is.
You know, it's about that song. He just doesn't chill out. Okay, that's the point.
Okay, gotcha. I figured that's what it was initially about.
Good.
This is a song about two people who are both trying to cheat on each other.
Yeah, don't listen to the lyrics too hard. It's just that interlude part that we all like.
And getting caught in the rain. Yeah. That is true. That is the only part that we all like.
I hate the rest of the song.
I don't even remember the rest of the song.
Oh, Ruben can tell you about the lyrics. I don't want to.
Oh.
I don't want to hear about the lyrics, honestly.
We could go into it in depth, but we're not going to.
No, we're not.
Unless that's what Eucalyptus wants as the Q&A question.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you go in depth. No.
No. Don't pick that, by the way, as your Q&A question. As for the male thief and the female thief, cut off their hands as a recompense for what they have earned, as an exemplary punishment from God. Truly, God is mighty, wise. Of course, this is Hammurabi.
Oh, sure, yeah. Cut off the hands of the thieves.
But the hand...
Oh, it says here. Oh, this is always fun. So this is from Maulana Muhammad Ali, who's I feel like our most apologetic commentator.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So it was what, verse 38? Yeah. So the cutting off of hands may be taken metaphorically or literally. So there's like the phrase like he cut off his tongue.
Shadow Freddy Fazbear.
Yeah.
What grade are you in?
I think this person's in our Discord too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So the so it could be taken both ways. Like when someone says cut, like apparently the phrase cutting off the tongue has been taken as silenced him. If therefore that is to be taken metaphorically, it would simply mean restraining the thief by imprisonment or otherwise. So this has been taken in multiple ways, but it's very clear that it has also historically been taken as literal. Although I was reading the other day that that there was I think a caliph that suspended this for a while. So at some point it like the interpretation was like, okay, well, they kind of had to deal with, you know, blanket statements like this. So they would come to the conclusion of like, okay, well, let's say like this item was just like out and about and they didn't have to like break into anything, or let's say this person is poor, let's say this person, whatever. So they added a bunch of like conditional clauses in which like only like the most blatant like thievery for the sake of personal gain is punished like this. So
blatant thievery, that's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Let's see here. It is moreover clear from verse 33 that the infliction of the severe or the why do I keep saying severe or the milder punishment depends upon the circumstances of the case. So yeah, so they're taking the same legal precedent as they did before in verse 33 with those different whether they execute or imprison, whatever they do with certain people, they take the same kind of legal approach to those. But as a statement, it does just say, cut off their hands. So that they can no longer do that.
Yeah. The next verse gives more details. Whoever repents after his wrongdoing and makes amends,
yeah, it even
God
says like
will relent.
Yeah, it even says that they're not.
Him. Truly, God's forgiving, merciful.
Yeah, it even says that they are not unanimous as to even the value of the stolen property, which would involve this penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they disagree about a whole bunch of stuff, and I feel like
Yeah.
it's because they know that it's a little barbaric to just follow it. So they also
Maybe,
need to.
But obviously it comes right from Hammurabi, and
sure.
it's something that I think was in the Bible as well. He would surely think of this as like in the original message of whatever the tradition that he's
Original message of
purporting to
whatever.
represent.
That is accurate. I know some stuff like this was in the Bible, but I don't think the biblical
I think
one was
there
taken
were
literally.
references to Hammurabi in the Bible, like an
Well, no,
eye for an
to
eye.
the code, yeah,
But
not
I
necessarily.
don't
Hammurabi.
know if
If this specific one.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't remember if it was or not. Honestly, it could have been.
Yeah, because there's that verse which is important. You brought it up, I believe, in your abortion video,
Oh, sure.
where if a woman who's pregnant is injured and it causes a miscarriage, then there's one punishment.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to have this whole Hammurabi quote thereafter.
Oh, does it?
Right.
Okay.
But if the woman is injured, then an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
Oh, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Yeah, yeah. So that's like the equal punishment.
So I think that a hand for a hand is
That would be under that, sure.
But I don't think
don't-
that's a reference directly to the hand getting cut off for thievery.
Right.
I
I also don't think so.
Does this have anything to say about it? The Quran and the Bible?
No, actually, he lacks a lot of commentary. I feel in this section specifically.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he has something later on, but it's but that one is a direct like quote from what you just noted, lex talionis, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That one is a direct quote in verse 45.
So that's the scholarship you're only gonna get if you follow Milwaukee Atheists and
true.
Secular Ultra Quran.
So the best show that there possibly could be.
Well, literally, like with the resources that are out there about Islam, that's the best you're gonna get.
I did find some more academic sources though.
Oh,
So I should
Bring them.
have brought it. Yeah,
why didn't you?
I don't know. I just didn't.
Is it more like who are the authors?
Well, I forget the name of the author, but so one of the books is called History of the Quran, and I was going to flip through it for a few things, but it doesn't have an index, either for verses or for topics.
Yeah, that sucks. Did you finish the Quran in late antiquity?
No, I didn't.
It's a great book, by the way.
I believe you.
It's very detailed. Like
I went. I got
It'll-
to the first chapter.
it gives you detailed information about like the linguistic structure and the rhetorical structure of many. So like it's useful info.
There is a book that I did start reading on. It's called Muhammad and His Followers in Context.
Mhm.
And that's more of like kind of like an archaeological like survey book. So it a lot of like epigraphic analysis and stuff like that, which I
Okay.
enjoy.
Well, that's good. There's some books for you to get, everyone in the
Yeah.
audience. Read those books. Enjoy them.
And let's continue.
Yep. Okay. Dost thou not know that unto God belongs sovereignty over the heavens and the earth? He punishes whomsoever he will, and he forgives whomsoever he will. And God is powerful over all things. O messenger, let them not grieve thee, those who hasten unto disbelief, those who say, we believe with their mouths, while their hearts believe not, and those who are Jews
Wow.
who listen to lies, and others who have not come to thee. They distort the meaning of the words, saying, if you were given this, then take it, but if you're not given this, then beware. For whomsoever God desires that he be tried, thou hast no power to avail him aught against God. They are those whose hearts God desired not to purify, theirs is disgrace in this world, and in the hereafter they shall have a great punishment. Here it's explicit, right?
Yeah, he desired them not to
But
follow.
he's still going to punish them for
I know.
following his desires.
I know. So this is an idea we have seen before. This is multiple times in the fourth surah.
And we should put in context that the calling out of the Jews here is likely a reference to some Medinan Jewish people who had conflicts throughout, which we've had references to in the past.
True, but it also is more generally a reference to the to the fool, right? The people who say that they believe but really just don't.
Yeah.
And or they're listening to like the wrong people. So they're not
Right.
they're not believers. And I think
But I don't think that they would be inclusive of literally all Jews. In fact, there are several points in last week's reading.
it says
where-
from those among from among those who are Jews. So
Yeah.
a subset, yeah.
Yeah, but in last week's reading, we had a lot of mentions of like among the people of the book, there are none who are worthy, save a few.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So there's still allowances for individuals who are within those groups. It's not like a bold declaration of everyone within this category. So, anyways. Those who listen to lies and consume what is unlawful. If they come to thee, then judge between them, or turn away from them. If thou turnest away from them, they will not harm thee in the least. But if thou judgest, judge between them with justice. Truly, God loves the just.
So by the agreement drawn up between the various nationalities of Medina on the advent of the Holy Prophet there, all disputes were to be referred to the Holy Prophet, but the Jews had by this time become so... Okay. Wait, hold on. All right, well, either way, he was allowed to refuse to judge between them. In case he judged between them, he is still told to judge with equity.
Mm-hmm.
So this this section here on look at the people who are included in this. So included in that is the devourers of forbidden things.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about those dietary prescriptions.
Okay. And how is it that they come to thee for judgment when they have the Torah, wherein is God's judgment? Yet, even after that, they turn their backs and they are not believers. So here there's this affirmation of the Torah directly.
Yeah, true. That they now for me it is really funny because in this section it's very much no true Scotsman. Like they literally pull one. So in in this other translation, this one says they are not really people of faith. And then there is this other one where it says, and these are not believers. And this one says they turn their backs to him, and they are not believers.
Yeah.
They're not true believers.
They're not, in fact, believers.
Yeah, so even though they have the Torah, they have the law, and they still have to, they still debate things among each other. So they're not, they don't have, because if it was in the original form, they would know what it means, is the argument, I guess. Like, why come to God if you have all the rules? And then I guess they don't follow it.
You know, I'm concerned that we have people in school tuning into our show while they're in class.
I mean, that's fine.
Do we have to like watch our language?
No, I'm not
for
watching
the
my fucking
kids?
language. Fuck
Frack.
You don't wanna make it a family friendly show.
you. No.
Not really.
No. You don't want to.
Could you imagine Chris on a family friendly show?
We could
Sure.
put him in like a
have to-
dinosaur costume, and we could have him sing songs for the kids who
You could just get
watch
like a
from
haircut
school.
and wear like normal clothing and just act normal.
Do you have normal clothing?
We're not receiving enough
Uh,
video to maintain smooth streaming.
No, I
Bummer.
don't.
Well, me neither. So I can't do that stuff.
Black polo's pretty normal, I guess.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of it's normal, but like,
It's not normal enough. We
No.
both know what we mean.
yeah,
It's not normal enough.
not normal enough.
Speaking of abnormal, truly we sent down the Torah, wherein is a guidance and a light by which the prophets who submitted unto God judged those who are Jews, as
They
did
says
the
they judge.
sages and rabbis,
Sorry, go ahead. Finish the first.
in accordance with such of God's book as they were bidden to preserve, and to which they were witnesses. So fear not mankind, but fear me, and sell not my signs for a paltry price. Whoever judges not by that which God has sent down, it is they who are disbelievers.
Yeah, so the people where it says here in the group included that preserved the book of God and witnessed to it are the prophets.
Mhm.
Now we know that's not actually true. We know that the prophets did not have the Torah. The
What?
Torah wasn't written yet.
When was the Torah written?
Later, a little bit later.
After all the prophets?
Well, I mean, at least after the major ones.
After a lot of prophets.
Yeah. So
Theologically speaking,
they were
very
not-
long.
yeah, they were not preserving all that stuff. So that would be false. But the idea is that they, I mean, for a long time, this is how, to some extent, they still do judge by the Torah. Christians do it too, when it suits their needs.
When it suits their needs. But
Yeah.
other times they completely ignore it.
Right, yeah.
Like, has that one guy started reading the Old Testament yet?
I don't know. I haven't seen him this semester.
Oh, really? Have you seen Penn Guy?
Yeah, plenty.
Is he still a believer?
Yeah.
Man, you've had so much time,
Sure, yeah.
and you've had.
He says
so
that he
many-
says atheism would make it makes him sad.
That's it.
That one of the biggest reasons for him being a believer is that he was too nihilistic as an atheist and got sad.
maybe
It's
sorrow,
okay to be nihilistic.
I also said that.
Sorrow is a chemical response, and can be manipulated.
Yes, you're right.
So he should just manipulate it. Well, he kind of is.
Sure, yeah, true.
You know, it's strange when they admit that they're just like coping with their belief,
Right, yeah.
right? Because then it's like, well, you can't really argue.
Because they
against
accept
that.
the one premise, but the one premise is that everything that they would otherwise believe is false. So like the one premise that he goes off of is Jesus was right, and that means that like the whole Bible is right. Because Jesus believed the Old Testament, right? So he has to take it. Because Jesus can't be wrong.
Did he watch your flat Earth video?
Yeah, he did not. I don't think so.
Have you gone over those details with him?
He didn't seem like he wanted to.
You know, maybe he realizes that there's an issue there.
Yeah, I mean he knows that the Earth is a globe. He's not, he's not a flurf.
No. See, from the perspective of an object traveling at the speed of light, or light
Oh my God, we're
itself,
not doing this. We're not doing this.
It's flat.
It's
right?
very flat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So am I.
But everything's flat topographically, so that's
In fact, if you go fast enough, everything's a single point.
that's even cooler.
Wow. What was the point of that?
Nothing.
Oh no!
Oh.
Gotta go fast.
Yep.
What's the point, guys?
Brought to you by Nord Shadow Legends.
Nord Shadow Legends.
Yeah.
No. I'm
Um,
not putting that up.
and therein, they're talking about the Torah here.
Yeah.
We prescribed for them a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, and for wounds, retribution. But whosoever forgoes it out of charity, it shall be an expiation for him. Whosoever judges not by that which God has sent down, it is they who are wrongdoers.
Yeah, it says that it'll be an atonement for them to not go through with like the like that equal punishment.
Mm. Which, as we've brought up before, is Hammurabi.
Sure, yeah.
Here, this commentary just says that it's sourced from Leviticus, Exodus, and Deuteronomy.
Yeah, I mean that's also true. It's also in there.
Uh-huh.
That's
But-
probably where that's almost exactly where they got it.
And they make
but-
no mention whatsoever of Hammurabi in this commentary. And I
Why
doubt
would they?
in your commentaries as well. they would
Absolutely
make-
not.
Because they don't want to like recognize that there's a separate tradition that this is derived from that isn't like Abrahamic. Anyways, let's continue on.
It's interesting though. Whoever judges not by what Allah has revealed, those are the wrongdoers. So that one
Mhm.
seems like it to make sense on its own, right?
Right.
But if specifically foregoing it, is if foregoing it would cause atonement, or if maybe they mean atonement in a different way. So let me see the note here. The statement made here is that the masters. Wait, I'm reading the wrong verse. That's funny. Oh no, it's literally just yeah. Sorry. If a man forgoes his right to act of reprisal against his brother, this shall be an expiation for any wrong he may have done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
like
so
you are owed
Yeah, so
the
that's what I thought.
ability to have retribution, but you can choose not to, and
That
in
makes up for
exchange,
something
that's you getting forgiven for your sins.
sure, but then I kind of have to ask, because the direct order is to have that direct retribution, then wouldn't they be falling under the category of the people who are not judging by what Allah has revealed?
That's complicated.
It's a special case,
It's a special case.
I think.
I mean, that's where I would put it too. But it's just weird
Yeah.
that yes, like as a general statement, I could see where
Maybe
like
the exception is within the category of what he's revealed.
maybe. Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe. And in their footsteps, we sent Jesus, son of Mary, confirming the Torah
Oh, here's
that
it.
had come before him.
I actually do have a note on that. That might be a little bit helpful.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is not part of the Mosaic law, but the teaching of Jesus and of Muhammad.
Mhm.
Notice how the teaching of Jesus is gradually introduced as leading up to the Quran.
Confirming the Torah that had come before him. And we gave him the gospel, wherein is a guidance and a light, confirming the Torah that had come before him as a guidance and an exhortation to the reverent. So the gospel is a confirmation of the Torah.
Yeah.
If you look at Matthew, for example, and I've brought this up many times to believers, he says outright that he's come not to replace or whatever.
Yeah,
the
he's not there
prophets,
to abolish the law, but to fulfill it,
to fulfill it,
and not a jot or tittle of the law will.
be removed until all things come to pass.
Yeah, yeah.
Until heaven and earth pass away.
Yeah, or until there's a new heaven and a new earth.
Yeah. So that is something that many Christians who don't celebrate Passover seem to forget.
Yeah, there's but then you have to go into like the whole because there's covenantal theologies, right? Where
Yep.
like they're where they put themselves under the different covenant.
Oh,
Yeah.
dispensation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all just such a mess.
Yeah.
Anyways, confirming the Torah that came before him, we gave him the gospel, wherein is the guidance and the light, confirming the Torah. Okay. Let the people of the gospel judge by what God has sent down therein. Whosoever judges not by that which God has sent down, it is they who are iniquitous.
Oh, sure. Okay. So it's
So here
It's
they
part of the
call
same.
out, instead of saying the people of the book, they're saying the Jews,
or the
right?
people who really follow it.
The people who follow the Torah. They have to follow the rules in the Torah because that's what God sent down to them. And the Christians, the people of the gospel, need to follow the contents of the gospel because that's what's sent down to them. And we have sent down to thee a book in truth, confirming the book that came before it, and as a protector over it. So judge between them in accordance with what God has sent down, and follow not their caprices away from the truth that has come unto thee. For each among you we have appointed a law and a way, and God willed he would have made you one community, but he willed otherwise, that he might try you in that which he has given you. So vie with one another in good deeds. Unto God shall be your return altogether, and he will inform you of that wherein you differ.
Sure, yeah. So this, I am writing this down because it is kind of interesting that they're like, here's a whole list of sections about different books for different people and following what was prescribed to you.
Yes, and
but the thing is that he's suggesting
says that if God wanted you to all be one community, then you would all be one community, but he didn't. So, like, this, it suggests to me that you would not want to see, for example, proselytization across borders between Christians, Muslims, and Jews.
Yeah.
And that Muslims would explicitly not try to convert, for example, Christians or Jews.
Yeah, because they ultimately would say when they're saying that at the end of all these sections that the people who don't follow it are the transgressors. It would seem like there is still salvation in it for good Christians and good Jews. I think I should
don't follow it.
Right, yeah. So I think I should take over.
Yeah, you should take over. That's the halfway point. I am going to use the restroom.
All right, you do that. Really, it's a real bummer that Ruben hasn't gotten. He hasn't been carried off to heaven in a while. So that's a bummer. But I'm gonna continue on here. So I believe that was verse 48.
See?
Yep.
You believe.
I did. Yep.
He admits it.
I believe in Joe Hendry. So, verse 49. Judge between them by what God has sent down, and do not follow their desires. Beware of them, lest they should beguile you from part of what God has sent down to you. But if they turn their backs on you, then know that God desires to punish them for some of their sins. And indeed, many of those people are transgressors. So the people who are not following the rules, or when they pretend to follow the rules, but they're actually pulling out some like lawyer tricks, it seems like, where they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. They're trying to bamboozle you. Chris, are you trying to bamboozle anyone right now?
It's been a while.
Been a while? Okay.
I don't feel like, unless somebody puts me in a corner, maybe we're playing a game, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have to bamboozle them.
Nah, there's no reason, so I don't. I'm genuine. Yeah.
All right. Verse 50. Do they seek the judgment of pagan ignorance?
Yeah.
But who is better than God in judgment for people who have certainty? That's fun. What are the translations here? Yeah, and who is better than Allah to judge for a people who are sure? Okay, so it seems like the implication, of course, is that. Oh, this is interesting. Do they then seek after a judgment of the days of ignorance? So in one, in Gabriel Said Reynolds' translation, they seek the judgment of pagan ignorance. And in, let's see what this one says, the judgment of ignorance. And then this one is a judgment of the days of ignorance. The days of ignorance.
The age of ignorance.
Yeah, the days of ignorance were the days of tribalism, feuds, and selfish accentuation of differences in man. That's
era
all time.
In Arabia prior to the coming of Islam, an era marked by idolatry and culpable ignorance of true religion.
Which was really funny is because of the recent book I've been reading that I'm still getting through it. It is making the argument that it wasn't really all that polytheistic. Mm-hmm. That the area beforehand was still monotheistic. It just had like a lot of sects, which would explain why Muhammad pulls from so many like early Christian and Gnostic sources.
Well, yeah, but I mean, also you could say because you could consider some people, I don't know, around Abraham's time to have submitted to God.
Sure, yeah.
They're Muslims.
That's one of their favorite things, yeah.
Well, because Muhammad claims to represent the religion of Abraham.
Right, yeah.
So Abraham would be, well, I guess they don't call him a Muslim. They call him a Hanif.
Oh, sure. I do have quite a lengthy message, a comment on this, on this verse specifically, and specifically when they say here that the people have certainty. So they're making the suggestion that people before them did not have certainty, which is very funny to me. But that seems to be the level of arguments from the Quran so far. It's that it's only supposed to reaffirm what people already kind of believe. So where was it here? Okay, so this actually covers quite a lengthy section. So on the expression they pervert, I just want to find the section on specifically that verse, and it doesn't look like there is that much commentary on that verse from here.
There really isn't in here elsewhere either.
I think there's some in here. It just talks about the other days. Yeah, they don't say anything about the second part of that verse. What a bummer.
Yeah.
Would have liked to talk about that. On the expression of pagan ignorance. Oh, he has commentary later on that one expression, but not on the whole people being sure. So I'll continue. Oh, you who have faith, do not take the Jews and the Christians for allies. They are allies of each other. And any of you who allies with them is indeed one of them. Indeed, God does not guide the wrongdoing lot. Yet you see those in whose hearts is a sickness rushing to them, saying, we fear lest a turn of fortune should visit us.
So here, allies or protectors, it likely denotes those whom would turn to them as a protector or dominant authority.
Yeah. This is the same.
Also refer to friends.
Yeah, this is the same thing that we talked about before. Remember, where there was, don't be taking certain people as there was one as protector, one as friends, which is why I think Said Reynolds' translation as allies makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Maybe God will bring about a victory or a command from him, and then they will be regretful for what they kept secret in their hearts.
Yeah. And it may be that God will grant victory indicates a promised certainty, not mere possibility. as the wording may literally suggest, according to some commentators.
So looking at this thing that is so that they hide, right? What they hid in their souls, what they kept secret in their hearts. Oh man, is there really not anything on this?
Nothing.
They say, bring the victory or a commandment. They have comments on that, but they don't have the comments on stuff that is kept secret.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing.
No.
What a bunch of bull. Okay. I'm going to continue on, though.
Yep.
And the faithful will say, are these the ones who swore by God with solemn oaths that they were with you? Their works have failed, and they have become losers.
Losers.
Oh, you who have faith. Should any of you desert his religion, God will soon bring a people whom he loves and who love him, who will be humble toward the faithful, stern toward the faithless, waging jihad in the way of God, not fearing the blame of any blamer. That is God's grace, which he grants to whomever he wishes, and God is all bounteous, all knowing.
It's interesting. This one, instead of saying waging jihad, says striving.
Yeah, any striving is usually what that means. That's why struggle as a translation. It's any kind of struggle. And in these cases specifically, it's the striving in the way of God.
Mystical writers discuss this verse as pointing to the distinct reality of. Did you finish 54?
Yes.
Okay. The distinct reality of love in the relationship between God and men and women. Al-Kushairi, for example, asserts that God's love for certain of his creatures is more particular than the mercy that he shows toward all of his creatures. Although God's mercy includes all the blessings that God might bestow, his love is a more exclusive and ennobling relationship that he has with certain of his servants. Al-Kushairi further distinguishes the love of the servant for God from other forms of piety or obedience, stating that such love is a subtle state that allows the servant to find delight in the presence of God, his beloved, and leads to the complete disappearance of the lover's separate existence in the remembrance of God. He describes it as an intoxication from which one never recovers, and an illness for which there is no cure, and for which no cure is sought. So that sounds like Nirguna Brahman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much like Krishna, Hare Krishna people. Like they do the Kriya Yoga.
Okay.
Right? You've met them on campus, I'm sure.
I'm trying to remember if I have.
Bhagavad Gita people.
I don't think I ever
They
actually.
hand out.
I know which ones you're talking about. I don't think I've
Yeah.
actually spoke to them. One did weirdly chase a customer down
Mhm.
into the bar and like give him a Bhagavad Gita or he gave him something, but it was very like syncretic. He told this Muslim guy that he's not a real Muslim because he's not following the true God, and I'm like, this is all very funny to me. But he had like a more universalist approach to religion, where it's like you only understand like one part of it, which means you're not a true Muslim because you're not a real servant.
But the followers of the true yoga who follow Krishna have their eyes open to the full
Sure.
truth.
Yeah, of course.
Gnostics, basically.
Goddamn right. The Gnostics. So, verse 55. Your guardian is only God, his apostle, and the faithful who maintain the prayer.
There's a bar on campus. Yeah, there's a bar on campus. There's, I think,
Just to be clear, I don't work at a bar on campus.
no, but There's a bar.
There was, because the thing is, it's a bar kind of, well, not super nearby, but it's like in the area where people would still like be living if they go to school there.
But there's also a bar that's like in the student union.
I think in the basement, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, who maintain prayer and give the zakat while bowing down. So I forget which part is zakat.
Campus bars are more expensive than a regular bar, but some campuses allow you to use your meal plan.
Oh, sure, yeah. I don't go to the campus one, mostly because I hate everyone that I see on campus.
Wow.
So I mostly hate everyone that I see, really. That's just kind of a rule.
Do you even know them?
No.
Well, you should get
Anyways,
to know them all.
what was the zakat? It was the poor rate. Okay, so that's the alms, the charity, right? I think. I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, alms giving. Yeah, I was right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, continuing on here. Whoever takes God, his apostle, and the faithful for his guardians should know that the confederates of God are indeed victorious. That's a very funny phrase. The confederates of God.
Wow, yeah.
The party of God.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. I really wonder why he chose the translation confederates, but okay. What was that? Verse 56? I want to see how this is translated elsewhere. Is this like supposed to be like the idea of the host of heaven sort of thing?
Mm.
Yeah, that was 56, right?
The party of God.
And his those who
shall
believe,
prosper, those with whom God is content, and those who are content with God.
yeah, the party of Allah, yeah.
They're later contrasted with the party of Satan in Surah 58.
Yeah. That is party of God. Yep. Continuing on. Verse 57. Oh, you who have faith, do not take as allies those who take your religion in derision and play. From among those who were given the book before you and the infidels, and be wary of God, should you be faithful. The comment on this is actually a quote from 2 Corinthians. Do not harness yourselves in an uneven team with unbelievers. How can uprightness and law breaking be partners? Or what can light and darkness have in common? Which is honestly, the Quran seems to be kind of, again, this is one of those cases where it's not exactly a contradiction, but it's like it has different feelings towards it, where I guess you could feel both, but there's the issue of how you treat unbelievers. Like,
right.
In some cases, it's you can't like
it depends if they're apostates.
Well, that's different, yeah. But if they're not apostates, so either you can't be friends with them at all, or you
can't have them as overseers.
Yeah, you can't have them as overseers, or you can't have them as like friends over other Muslim friends. So you can still have them as friends, but they can't be like closer or take the spot of a Muslim friend.
There are varying views on the subject.
Yeah.
Why don't you go through the next
Which
verse,
I don't
and
think...
then I have some commentary.
Yeah, I don't think like this is actually one of the subjects that I had written down. I kind of don't want to go back and find those other verses, so we'll just keep it in mind. What'd you say for me to continue?
Yeah, finish the next verse. I have commentary.
Great. When you call to prayer, they take it in derision and play. That is because they are a people who do not reason.
When you call to prayer, is considered a scriptural basis for the Islamic ritual practice of the call to prayer, technically referred to as the adhan. This is the only verse that mentions the call to prayer directly. Though it does not use the technical term adhan, the call to prayer is ideally made publicly before each of the 5 daily prayers, and the text of the call to prayer in Sunni Islam is as follows. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, Hayya ala salah.
I don't even think Arabic speakers know what you're saying.
Good point.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Which was clearly not the way you actually pronounce it, but it means God's great, God's great, God's great, God's great. I bear witness that there is no God but God. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. Come to the prayer, come to prosperity or salvation. God is great, God is great. There is no God but God. The Shiite call to prayer adds, Ashhadu anna al-wali Allah. I bear witness that Ali is the wali of God. After Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. It also contains the line, Hayya ala khair al-amal. Come to the best of acts. That is prayer after Hayya al-falah. Although the Prophet is said by some to have heard the call to prayer during his night journey, this practice was instituted only after the Muslims began praying in the direction of the Kaaba, about 2 years after the migration from Mecca to Medina, when some companions of the Prophet are said to have had dreams about such a call to prayer, and several prominent companions indicated the need for a public announcement of the time of prayer. It's reported in connection with this verse that some Christians or Jews in Medina would mock and cast ill omens upon the Prophet or the believers when they heard the call to prayer, or that the disbelievers mocked the call to prayer as a religious innovation or as having an ugly sound. They mock in a way like this only because there are people who do not understand. According to Al-Razi, those of real understanding know that prayer is the best of all human acts. And he quotes the saying, the noblest movement is prayer, and the most beneficial stillness is fasting. So that is the details about the call to prayer. This is the call to prayer verse. We may now move on.
All right. This verse 59. Say, O people of the book, are you vindictive toward us for any reason except that we have faith in God and in what has been sent down to us and in what was sent down before, and that most of you are transgressors? So, are you vindictive for us for any reason other than we rule and you suck?
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, no.
Say, shall I inform you concerning something worse than that as a requital from God? Those whom God has cursed and with whom he is wrathful, and turned some of whom into apes and swine, and worshippers of satanic entities. Such are in a worse situation and more astray from the right way. So people who are no longer allowed to believe. We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm. Those who God has cursed, among whom he made some to be apes, is likely a reference to God's having said to those Jews who violated the Sabbath, be you apes, in Surah 2, verse 65.
Sure, yeah.
But also Surah 7, verse 163 through 166. That God made some to be apes and swine can therefore be understood as a metaphor for the state in either this world or the next of those who deliberately violate religious law. This can also be seen as a reference to God's changing their hearts, hardening them, making them prone to heedlessness.
That's actually exactly what I was writing down. Because if you want to see more about cursing them and hardening their hearts, go to verse 13 in Surah 5.
Yes.
Because I have that written down. But yeah, this seems again like he is literally keeping people from believing.
Yes.
Yeah. And it does note here that in In 265 through 66 and 163 through 66, the Quran has God curse people who violate the Sabbath by saying to them, "Be you spurned apes." In 447, the Quran alludes to the cursing of the people of the Sabbath, and has God tell his audience to believe, lest he blot out faces and turn them backwards. So very biblical language there. Here, the Quran reports that God made people into apes and swine, but without any explicit reference to the people of the Sabbath. It is possible that the mention of pigs here is connected somehow to the anecdote of the Gerasene. Oh, right, the remember the demon thing where he casts out the demons and they all go into pigs?
Yeah, the legion. Right?
Yeah,
but also, swine are clearly supposed to be unclean animals.
Right,
Even
yeah.
in Islam, we covered this in last week's episode. So it's in some ways an outright insult, right? They
Right.
made them to be swine.
So I'll continue on. I have a few more verses.
Mhm.
When they come to you, they say, "We believe." Certainly, they enter with disbelief and leave with it. And God knows best what they have been concealing.
Like the fool.
Right? You see many of them actively engaged in sin and aggression and consuming illicit gains. So I think that's a lender's.
Consuming what is forbidden. This refers to illicit gain and bribery, the sin which is glossed by some as lying or disbelief, although it may relate all manners of sin. So here this would be something like usury, maybe.
Yeah. Sut signifies any property that is forbidden or not lawful to be gained. It is also applied to a bribe. Yeah, surely evil is what they have been doing. Why do not the rabbis and the scribes forbid them from sinful speech and consuming illicit gains? Surely evil is what they have been working.
Right. The rabbis and the scribes here would be,
And that's a rhetorical device.
yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, well, why don't they stop it?
leadership, Right.
Yeah.
Why aren't their leadership perfectly running their communities? Well, because their communities are a lot bigger than yours, for one. It's going to be way more difficult. You can't manage people on that scale.
With it's very hard to manage that many people on a small scale, but that many people with a small scale like rule. But some people have managed it. There was a part during Augustus's reign where the people that were managing it was just him, his wife, and like a few. He had like an advisory board, and then he had like a few slaves running some things.
Yeah.
And he was somehow fucking running the Roman Republic.
And sometimes it goes wrong.
Yeah, well, it went wrong a lot, but
Yeah.
Did you watch MacGyver?
no.
I mean, I've heard about it.
I've also heard about it, but I've never seen MacGyver.
I'm not going to watch MacGyver.
Well, apparently that guy could take like a stick of gum and like a match and a sock and do
Sure.
miracles or something. I don't know.
That sounds very MacGyver, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that is the end of the reading for the day.
So you guys should all check out our Patreon and
Absolutely.
our Discord and all the other things.
And
You
here's a
should,
shirt. Chris is gonna tag a shirt.
A shirt, a crew neck T-shirt. Hashtag blame the Bible.
There it
Even
is.
though this is not the Bible, this is the
We can
Quran.
still blame it.
We can do
still
whatever.
blame the Bible. We can blame the Bible for the Quran.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So
You didn't like the Bible?
that's
I
that.
don't like the Quran.
Go buy our stuff. Amazon wish list. Buy us stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. And join the Discord if you're not in it already.
Yeah.
Although I feel like most of the people probably
Yeah.
got here from the Discord notification. So
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, we're gonna be making good progress in the Quran.
no, I do think so. In this giant Quran, right? Okay, we're like what we're about a quarter through almost a quarter through.
Yeah, I mean, round about a quarter. If I go all the way to the part where they actually talk about us.
About us?
Yeah, the disbelievers.
Oh, okay.
No, but if I go to basically the end of the actual text where they start writing.
Sure.
No one ever sees the T-shirt, guys.
Wait, what? You never see the T-shirt.
Yeah, we're about a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, we have it pinned. Is it on the top of the chat or anything?
Yeah, it should be at the top of the chat.
Well, not for us.
Not for
No.
us.
Because it's supposed to pop up. Is it like at the bottom of the video? Maybe.
Oh man.
Okay, so nothing works. Just we should know that.
Okay,
by now.
nothing works. All
Any
right.
of these things,
They don't work.
I'm just gonna guess don't work. Yeah,
And
I guess
all
Ryan,
check
both Ryan
pin
and April.
products
All this?
automatically.
this works.
Okay.
Right, check pin products automatically.
Yeah. Let's see what happens there.
I can't.
It doesn't let you.
Uh,
You gotta add more. Yeah, add a Daddy's Milkers.
yeah, that is a good shirt.
I don't think that's gonna make a difference.
And now pin
Oh.
products automatically.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it showing up for you guys?
Yeah, maybe that worked.
Oh man.
Wow, what a bummer. That nothing
Well, that
is
sucks. YouTube is shitty.
right.
Hey, goodbye.
Okay. Well, yeah. Anyways, do all the things. I guess link is in the description for those if you want to see a T-shirt. Which is what's fucking weird. I have seen on the Teespring analytics page that we have had like clicks for these things. So I figured they were coming from this, but I guess they're coming from
crawlers.
something else.
Bots and crawlers.
Well, must be. Anyways.
It's